Hello everyone, it's Sally. I'm back. We've been so busy the past few weeks. Are we gonna do makeup? So today's video, I will be doing some makeup. I gotta run errands right after this. All the makeup products that I'm using today, I'll list them down below. And today, we're gonna talk about my house. This house was actually not listed on the market. This house is a Rambler, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, walkout basement. The yard was like really nice. This house was the last one we actually looked at. Prior to this house, we've actually looked at a few. We put an offer on, I think, at least 3, and we didn't get any of the houses. The owner of the house is actually friends with my brother-in-law who lives next door. So then they talked here and there, and he told my brother-in-law that he wanted to move back to where he came from and he wanted to list the house. And so my brother-in-law said, hey, my brother-in-law, which is my husband, he's like, my brother-in-law, they're looking for a house. So he asked us if we wanted to look at the house, and I was like, yeah. I want to look at it. So we went to my sister's house and I asked her to go with us. When then I asked my brother-in-law too, because they're closer with each other. They're like neighbor friends. And so my brother-in-law came too. So it was me, my sister, my husband, and my brother-in-law, and our agent. So there's 5 of us, we all came together. He let us in and he just allowed us to kind of walk through the house on our own, which is really kind of him. He was like even offering to leave, so then we like just look at the house, which is fine. He just stayed in the living room while we looked around. The house had a bunch of wood panels and I did not like it, because then it looked like really dull, and then it was not cute, and it was not modern. Like I can tell that this house stayed in the 60s. So this house had a bunch of wood panels, like from the living room walls all the way into like 2 of the bedrooms. One of the bedrooms didn't have it. The only light that was on the ceiling was the one in the hallway and the one in the bathroom. And I was just like, okay, well, I don't like living in the dark, so we're gonna need some lights. Going into the bathroom, I was like, the bathroom's kind of outdated. I was like, it kind of smells. I was like, we can clean that. No problem there. Went into the kitchen, and the kitchen was really outdated. Like the cabinets, you can just tell that everything was just kind of old. Like it's never been updated or replaced. The patio door, the lock was broken. It was kind of hard and kind of like stiff. We did open it, but it would stop like at a certain point. Like it just wouldn't open anymore. The side door was pretty old. The front door was pretty old. Going to the basement was like kind of like, like it's not updated at all. And it had a bunch of those wood panels continuing on all of the walls in the basement, and it just made the basement so dark, and I didn't like it because the basement had like a huge window. It was a huge picture window, and that should like bring light into the room, right? But no, it was really dark. So we're like, okay, so let's open the door and try to go outside, because it was a walkout basement, but we couldn't open the door. Like we didn't know if it was locked. Like, we were trying to unlock it and we were trying to lift it, and it was a heavy door, but it wouldn't open. And so we were just a little bit like confused, like, okay, is it, I mean, I'm assuming it's safe, since I don't think anyone's ever broken into this house. But of course our intention was, if we do get it, we are going to change all the doors anyway, but we're going to have to be stuck with it for at least like a few days until the doors get in. We managed to get it open, and then we went outside and we looked around the basement. We noticed the bathroom and we were like, that's gotta go. That was about it. It was just, there was like a bar. I think the initial owner probably built like a bar there, but it's just like a dresser. I guess it's like an island, actually, like an island there, but you can slide it and move it. We were just gonna toss it out. We weren't gonna keep it, because in that area that it was in, it can be turned into a bedroom, so there was no reason for us to keep a bar there. We're not like hard heavy drinkers, so we wouldn't need it. So what we really liked about this house is that the yard was just nice and green and flat. The yard was fully fenced. There's also like a storage room right beneath the garage. It's like, I think, a 10 by 10 room. It's perfect because we can put like the lawnmower and snowplower stuff in there. We were willing to work with the house. Like we were ready to go to work. This is our first house, so we didn't really know what we were doing. So our agent talked to the homeowner and we put in an offer. He accepted our offer. It was about 30 days until we got to close on the home, and then we got our keys. We started to give ourselves a tour of the house, and we just kind of walked from room to room. I instantly noticed there's a guy there, and he did not welcome us, and he was just not inviting. He was just not, he just didn't like any of us, and he was just like calling us like, you know, racist names, and he didn't want us there. And I was like, it's okay, I'm just gonna ignore him. And then he just kind of like followed me wherever we go. Didn't hurt my neck or anything, just kind of followed us. So I'm gonna play the video right here. I'm gonna play the video of us walking in into the house when we got our keys. Don't mind the bad like footage. I was not expecting to really document this. This is the only video I have of the house before we like ripped down the walls. We couldn't open the front door, so we went through the side door. And going through the side door, you walk right into the kitchen, dining, and then I walked into the living room and just kind of like showed everyone what it looked like. The house was so dusty. The like air vents, there was just dust everywhere. It was just so bad, and like our allergies were just kicking in. At the house there was just this really like strong stench, and we had to like open up the windows to air it out. We went and looked in the bathroom again. It was just so stinky. We couldn't even stay like in the house. Like, it's just, we had to air it out for just like maybe like an hour or two. I'm just gonna pop up a few clips as I talk about my house. So that first day that we got in, we went and bought some tools. We didn't know if there was like drywall behind the wood panels, because we didn't really like ask, because we didn't ask, and we didn't think he would know anyway. But yeah, so we didn't ask. And then when we went and got like a crowbar and we pulled out the panel, and there was like this nice smooth dry wall. All I needed was a fresh coat of paint. So then we just ended up tearing down all of the wood panels throughout the whole living room and all of the bedrooms. We ripped out the carpet in the room that didn't have the wood panels. We got rid of the popcorn ceiling, and that was the worst part of renovation. That was the hardest and the longest part. Spraying the ceiling with water and scraping it off. Oh my gosh, like my arm was like just so sore and so tired. Like we took turns every single time. Like there's so many of us trying to scrape these freaking ceilings, and I never want to do it again. And for the kitchen, I asked my brother and my cousins to help us tear it down. So we ripped out all the cabinets in the kitchen. We were actually going to just keep the bathroom as it was and just clean it. Like, it didn't really bother us, but we didn't really pay attention to the bathroom either. As we were like tearing down these wood panels, I went to the bathroom and I was just kind of looking around, just kind of see how I would feel about it. I didn't like the laundry chute, so I was like, you know, we have to cover that up eventually. I was like looking at the toilet. I was like, the toilet looks really old and it's kind of dirty. I was like, I don't know if I want to work with that. And the toilet was kind of small, and I was like, I don't like the vanity. Like, I don't know how I feel about the vanity. I was like, but you know, I was like, that's replaceable. It's when I turned around and I looked in the shower, right? So it's one of them glass doors where you kind of slide them. You just slide one side open. So I did just that, and when I did that, I saw 6 bodies like lined up, all facing towards the shower head, and I was just like, what in the freak? I shut it back, and then I walked out. I told my husband, I was like, we're getting a new tub. I was like, I don't care what you say, we're getting rid of that door. We're gonna tear that door down. We're gonna get a new tub. I was like, I don't care about the shower head. Like, the shower head didn't bother me. I was like, but we need a new tub. And he's like, well, if we're getting a new tub, we need a new shower head. I'm like, then we're getting a new shower head. That wasn't no big deal. And man, that tub was heavy. Like, it was my husband, my brother, and my 2 brother-in-laws. You know, it was just freaking heavy. Like, I don't know what that thing was made of. It was like, you can just tell that thing was like really like super heavy. When we took out the bathtub, we're just like, okay, we're just gonna get a new vanity. So we just ripped out the vanity, and then my husband's like, we're getting a new toilet. Then we just ended up like redoing the whole bathroom. Like we just took everything out. The bathroom is still actually under renovation. Like we can use it, but you can tell that it's not finished. So we've got a new, we replaced it with a new vanity, a new toilet, and a new tub, a new shower head. No doors, just a curtain. After taking down these walls, we started mudding all of the nail holes. What I noticed with my bedroom is that it was flaking off. And I would like scrape it and scrape it and scrape it and then mud it. And then I noticed that while it's still wet, it will start to flake some more. I was like, is it because it's getting wet that's flaking off? I was like, but it wasn't flaking off in the other rooms. I was like, this didn't make sense. So like there's like this big piece, right? I scraped every single thing I could until like there's nothing left to scrape. And so I mudded that whole area. Everything else started peeling. I was so frustrated. I told my husband, I was like, hey, look at this. I was like, look, it's like not staying. And I showed my brother-in-law too. And they're just like, well, it's probably because like the wallpaper. And I was like, but this is, I was like, okay, you know, I thought this was like paint. But I think there is wallpaper behind this. Because I remember seeing a yellow wallpaper behind it. Our golden plan was to steam, like use a steamer, like a clothes steamer, like just steam the walls and peel it, right? We peel the first one. There's another wallpaper behind it. Man, we were so tired. We peeled another one. There was another one behind it too. And they're all like floral wallpapers. The steamer, I was just scraping it because I was like, okay, you know, the steamer was making the room so hot, and this is in July, and we didn't have the AC on because we were cleaning, so we didn't want it to like blow dust everywhere. Like I was like, man, I really hate this floor paper. It's so ugly. It's like so 60s and 70s. And right when I said that, I heard like voices behind me, and it was these three girls. They're just telling me, they're like, hey, like that's their favorite wallpaper. And I just kind of froze, and I just kind of like turned back, and they all looked like Lori from That 70s Show. Like they had like that big blonde hair, like the curls on the bottom. They're like in these really cute tops, and one I think wore like a button-up shirt, and they had like these nice cute like flare pants on, like different colors. I was like, what are you guys doing here? I was like, what the heck? I was like, I don't even know if they lived in this house, but they're like, yeah, they're sisters. They lived in this house before, and that was their room, and they loved that wallpaper. That's why they put it in there. And they didn't want me to take it out. They wanted to keep that wallpaper in there. But I was like, oh, I'm sorry. This is actually my house now. I am going to fix it so it's, you know, comfortable for me and my family. They're like, okay, well, they're like, well, I bet it's going to be ugly. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, sure. Like, I guess we can agree to disagree. So I just stayed in the room and tried to, like, you know, try to peel off the rest of the wallpaper. But I eventually gave up. And they were just standing there just watching me. The next day we came back to the house and we started sanding the walls. So we started painting the walls. We started with the bedrooms and then the living room. And we painted the door trims last. So in my bedroom, where we had to do the wallpapers, I noticed that there was like on the, like the hinge of the doors, I noticed that there was like these lines to mark someone's height, and they would say their name and the year. And this dated back to like the 1960s and 1970s. And I was like, what the heck? This just confirmed that I was just talking to them. There's, I think, 2 or 3 girls. I was like showing to my husband and my family. I'm like, look. Like they would come and I'm like, look at this. I was like, remember the 3 girls I told you guys about? Like this confirms it. That was them. So those walls in our bedroom, like, because we couldn't fix the situation, the wallpapers just kept flaking. We actually just knocked down 2 of the walls, the one that had wallpapers on it. We knocked down those 2 down, and we got new drywalls to put up. And so, problem solved. The first week being here, we were so motivated to renovate. It was the second week that we were just getting like super drained out. We just didn't want to come anymore. We just want to stay home. But I would come anyway. Like, I would come every day. And I was just trying to pick up all the trash that was just laying around. It was me and my brother. And I was like, you know, I noticed that he was getting like, you know, he wasn't feeling well. And he's like, you know, he's getting like lightheaded. And I noticed that I've been getting lightheaded. And I was like, you know, why are we getting lightheaded? We didn't even do anything yet. Like, we just got to the house. Every time we did something, we got lightheaded instantly. And I was like, okay, instantly. And I was like, okay, that's weird. As I kept coming to the house on my own, I was still getting lightheaded. And I'm like, that's weird. And, you know, I would hear like things fall down. The lights would flicker, but I didn't think much of it because I was just like, you know, I mean, yes, that's them just trying to tell me that they're here. Like, but that's not my problem. Like, I'm also here. Like, this is my house now. I'm going to get comfortable. So get comfortable with me living here. My sisters wanted to come and check out renovation, like see where we're at. And I was like, yeah. I was like, come over. Just, you know, like, I'm at the house. Just come over. My sisters, they were feeling lightheaded too. They were feeling really uncomfortable. And I was like, that's them. They're just trying to like tell us all to leave and tell us to get out. I was like, don't think much of it. And so my sister saw like this smoke right behind me, or was it behind me or like next to me? I was like, yeah. I was like, that's him. I was like, just ignore him. A little background on him. The previous owner told us that he was a policeman and that he passed away. We didn't know if he passed away in the house or not. But spiritually, as I was continuing to clean the house, he would always come and just tell me things or talk to me. He was like really aggressive too. He didn't like me. As I was talking to him, I noticed that he was like in his 50s. I think he lived alone. I don't think he had a wife or kids. I think he had a wife. I don't know if he had kids. If he did, I think they're already grown and they probably already moved out. They gave me like a quick vision of him running and him dying on active duty. So then that gave me confirmation that he didn't actually pass in the house. Like, I was actually a little bit relieved that he didn't pass in the house. He did tell me that he doesn't like me because I'm Asian. So I was like, okay, we can work on that, I guess. Like, we're just gonna have to get along. We're gonna be in this house together. We're gonna have to get along. Our conversation just kind of, you know, every day it was like, why are you here? Get out of here. And I would just ignore him. Like, I would just sit there like, we're just gonna have to get along. And I would just start cleaning. And then I would get dizzy. And I would get dizzy all over again. Where there was one day where I came by myself again. And I was cleaning and I had music on. And I was just sweeping. And I was just noticing, like, man, I was like losing my vision. My vision was getting like a little hazy. And I feel like I was going to faint. So I like grabbed a chair and I just sat down. I sat in the corner of the living room just looking at like the whole house. And I was like, you know, this is my house now. I'm not leaving this house. And he was like just pissed off. And he was just like, no. He's like, this is my house. As long as I'm here, you're not going to get to renovate anything. This is my house. And I was like, no, we're going to have to get along. We're going to have to work something out. I said I was going to help you if you help me. Which is basically leave me alone and let me fix my house. But he was just so unhappy. He was just so aggressive towards me. And I ignored it for about a week. I was like thinking to myself, I was like, you know, we're getting so close to our move-in date. I was like, I don't want him doing this to my kids. I need to do something about it. So then I actually reached out to my master. We scheduled for my master to come, I think it was like the next day. And that day I had to go buy carnations and just like offerings for her guys to come help us. I asked my sister to take me to Ka Foods. We went to Ka Foods. They had quite a lot of white carnations. All of the white carnations were already starting to kind of like dry up and turn brown. And so we're like, that's weird. Like, there's not a single bundle that looks fresh. I have a few photos that I'm going to show you guys here. The pile of flowers were like stacked up high right in front of me, but I can like see through some of the stems. And directly like in front of me, like through the flowers, he was standing there. This police guy that was here, he was like, I'm not letting you send me. You're not going to send me. I'm going to make sure you get no white flowers. I was like, you know what? I was like telling my sister, you know what? Let's go to a different store. We are going to buy this white flower. We went to a different store, and yes, they had some. They're expensive, but we bought it anyway. We got the offerings that we needed. The next day, we did the ritual. She performed an emergency ritual here at the house. There was a point where he was just so stubborn and he wouldn't go. And so my master was trying to force him to go, right? And he just wouldn't go. And that's when I felt him like standing right next to me. And it was like he was trying to like morph in with me or something, like go into me. And I was just like, what the heck? And at that point, I noticed that I was just suddenly getting like really tired. Like I felt like I was going to exit my body, and I felt like I was going to faint. And my neck was breaking. I was like doing this. I was like rolling my neck, and I kept turning it like this and just twisting it and trying to crack it. And I didn't know what the heck was going on, but I was like, no, you're not going into my body. And so I snapped out of it. And I was trying to like, you know, like trying to be fully awake and like get a good grip of my body. I was like, you're not using my body. You're not coming into me. And then I looked at my sister. Her neck started hurting too. And my other sister, she was like, what? She's like, why are your necks hurting? And she was the one closest to the hallway. She's like, I can't feel anything. That was like the worst pain I've ever felt with my neck. He was just so aggressive. It was like, he was like, he just didn't care. He's not afraid of any of us. And we're just like, okay. She was able to get him, right? And then right after she sent him, the 3 sisters who was in my room ran out too. They all ran out. You can see like as they're like kind of like skipping, kind of like running to like right in front of her. And they like sat down. They're like, we want to go too. And so she sent them too. And they all just went. Well, the 3 sisters went willingly. You kind of had to convince the other guy to go. After some renovations on our main floor, we kind of just went around and looked in the basement and see if we wanted to start on it or not. And we asked one of our cousins to help us, you know, get rid of that bar, like, you know, pull out the drawers and just whatever was in there, just kind of throw it in the trash. And our cousin came and he showed us, he's like, there's these documents from, he's like, I think it's from the previous owner. And he's like, there's a birth certificate on it, like a birth record. And I was like, oh, weird. I was like, I want to see it. I was like, okay, I want to see it. So I went and looked at it, right? I opened up that manila folder and I looked at the birth record. And I forgot what the name was, but it was, you know, some guy born in like the 1956 or something. And then I looked at the parent's name. I don't remember the parent's name either, but I saw only the mom's name. And I saw that she was born in 1908. It's like 1906, 1908. And I was like, wow. I've never seen someone born in 1900 anything. I was like, man, this is so weird. Kind of creepy. But I was like, okay. And the bottom, it was dated 1956 when he was born. I looked at the top and it says Bethesda Hospital. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll return it to them. I was like, what if they're just like, okay, well, we don't want it. Like, why do we want it? Like, that was a long time ago. So I was just going to throw it out. So as I turned my back to walk to the trash, I saw her. And she was right in front of me. And she was in a gown. She was short. She had her curly white hair. Her short curly white hair. And she looked like, I think she was already in her 80s. And she just stood there. She didn't say anything. But I was like, kind of like went around her and then like threw it in the trash. And so I just ran upstairs because like, I don't want to be in the basement. You know, I noticed that she's never really bothered us, any of us. Me, my husband, my kids, nothing. She just kind of kept to herself. But every time I go to the basement, I would see her there. I would see her in there. She would just kind of be like at a wall or at a corner. But she wouldn't talk. She just mind her own business. But every time I walked up those stairs, I would walk sideways. Like, I would like hold my basket like this, and I would walk sideways like this. And I look up, and I look down, and I look up, and I look down as I'm going up. Because I don't want anybody grabbing my ankles as I'm trying to walk up there. And I didn't want to like fall back down the stairs. Because I would probably cry. And I'm pretty fat, so I would be in a lot of pain. We finally moved into our home. It was fine. We didn't feel anything. There's no really bad or negative energy in the house. 1 month into living here, that's when my daughter started complaining to me about their bedroom, right? They're like, Mom, like, we keep seeing this shadow flying in our room. And I was like, are you sure? Like, we cleansed the house. Like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. So I slept with my girls. I slept with them. There was like times where I slept with them for a whole week, and then there was time where I would, like, you know, sleep with them one day and then sleep on my bed and sleep with them for another day, and I would go back and forth. The first week I didn't really see him or feel him. It was like one of those days within that first week that I saw him, but he would only show me like his shadow form. And I saw him in the closet, in my girl's closet, and I was like, come on. I was like, what are you doing here? And he would not talk to me, and he would not show himself to me. So I was like, okay, well, I was like, this guy, I mean, he's being kind of rude, not talking to me and scaring my kids. We continued to go back and forth. I kind of allowed my girls to sleep with me because I didn't want them to be scared. Every time when I was in the hallway and I was near their bedroom door, I would smell this like cigarette smoke like blowing directly at me. And I was like, what the heck? Like, where is that smell coming from? And I would try to follow it, right? And it would just end, and I couldn't follow it anymore. I was like, okay, so somebody's smoking in this house. Like, not one of us living humans. I was like, but someone, at least someone did. And now they're like messing with us. There was one day where my girls did go back to sleep in their bedroom, and I was sleeping with my babies on my bed. My husband got up and he went to work. And I got up to use the bathroom. I came back and I just sat on the edge of my bed. There was someone like blew a cigarette smell like directly at me. And I was so mad. I was so pissed off. I remember I was just like, B word, you need to tell me who the F word you are, because you're like taking your sweet ass time just really messing with us. I was like, you know, I can't see you right now, and I can't really tell where you are. I was like, but I was like, I know someone who can. I was like, you need to quit this S word. Or some of you guys who follow me on Instagram know that, you know, my guys don't allow me to cuss. So I try not to cuss. Sometimes I do, but I don't mean it. Or do I? Anyway, from the day that he blew smoke on my face, and I really noticed that I couldn't talk to him. Like, I just know that I was so frustrated because I couldn't talk to him. I couldn't figure out who the oh my gosh, my bad. I couldn't figure out who he was. So I told my sister. I told my sister the next week, because I tried talking to him for a whole week. I tried being the nice one to, you know, figure things out on my own. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to my sister. She talked to him for us. He said he's been here since 1910. He was a railroad worker. He had on like this brown outfit. It was kind of dirty. His face was a little dirty, and he had like black boots on. And he said he would work at nights and sleep during the day, but he kept like hearing these little kids like, you know, like talking, and they were just so loud, and he couldn't sleep. And he was like, you know, there was these random people living in my house, and all of a sudden my house started looking different, and it didn't make sense. She thinks that he didn't know he was already gone. So then she told him that he has already passed, and he needs to go. And so after talking to him, you know, she did convince him to go, and he finally left. And it's been fine since. We don't smell cigarettes anymore. We don't see him. We don't feel him. My daughters are fine. They're still a little traumatized from him being in the closet. So they sleep in the living room now. They don't like to sleep in their bedroom. They would only sleep in their bedroom if they were already playing in there and they just took a nap on their bed and they just fell asleep. Recently, I went and did the laundry, and every single time I go to the basement, right, the first thing I think of is that grandma's down there. I'm gonna avoid her. Do not talk to her. Do not make eye contact. Just go. Just go do your laundry and then come back. I went in laundry, right? And I felt her like next to me here, and she was just like nudging me. She's like, hey, hey. She's like, hey. I was like doing laundry, and I was like, and I was like putting clothes in the washer. I was like, what do you want? And she was just like, she's like, I need help. I'm like, okay, well, if you want help, I was like, go upstairs. but then she wouldn't go. And then she came to my left side and she was nudging me from that side. I was like, you need to go upstairs. Like, do not do that to me. And but I was trying to be like more confident about it and trying to be a little bit more aggressive towards her so she would stop. But then she got a little more aggressive and I was like, ew. We finally went upstairs together, right? Because I noticed that she's never actually came upstairs before. Because every time I go upstairs, she stops at the bottom of the stairs. But this time, she went upstairs. I went and I sat on my living room couch, and I just stared at her because she didn't move. She stood in my little dining area, and the sun was like shining through the patio door, and she was just standing there, like kind of had like her head faced up with like her eyes closed and letting like the warm sun like touch her skin. She was just like, it's so nice up here. I was like, what? And I started thinking like, did they lock you down there? You know, just me overthinking. I was like, did your kids not love you? Did they lock you down there? Like, did you not get to come up here? Like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. But I never asked her. I was feeling a little sad for her. That was about it. I sent her off. She went like really willingly. She was very happy. She's been here too long. And then I never seen her again. I've never seen her again in my basement. Sometimes I like picture her in my mind like, oh, what if she's there? And then I'm like, no, she's actually not there because I don't feel her anymore. It's just me overthinking. And when I'm like, oh, she's there, my guys are like, no, you stupid, she's not. I'm like, oh yeah. I have a huge imagination, so I try not to use it so much when I'm by myself. That is the whole story of my house. So that's about it. If you guys want to know about like things I see in my house, I feel like that's normal. Like I see it regardless, like wherever I'm at. Sometimes they follow me from a different place and they get here and I'm just like, ugh. But the one spirit that I see the most is this little boy who is about the same height, same size as my 2-year-old son. He's really playing some mind games with me. Like, my son loves to shower. He loves taking a bath. He also loves to escape when we're not there. So he'll just get up and he'll run. And so my kids and I were like pretty familiar with his routine. He was in the shower and I saw him get out and he ran towards the living room, and my daughter Catherine was in the living room and I yelled out for her. I'm like, Catherine, I was like, get him. I was like, he ran out. She's like, where? She got out, she grabbed the towel. She was like, where is he? And she ran to the bathroom first. I'm like, no, like he went that way. And she opened the shower curtain and she's like, Mom, she's like, he's in here. He's still showering. I was like, oh. I was like, I don't know why this kid keep messing with me. I was like, I saw him butt naked and he ran out. She's like, I don't know who you saw. She was like, Mom, he never left. She's like, the floor is not wet. But till this day, you know, we see things here and there, but that is the main one that just kind of sticks around. Like, he's just here to really like play. It's a little innocent, I think. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please come back for more videos like this. I plan to do more videos as time goes by. I'm just very occupied with like family stuff lately, so please be patient. I know that everyone's been asking about my shaman journey, so I will share that in my next video. So please come back and we will be talking all about it. Bye and have a good day. I really want to do this in my other video because it was like Halloween themed, but now I'm going to do it. I'm going to edit this tone here.